Excellent!
Baltic.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live again.
Oh.
We're live again.
Thanks for telling me.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the second half of Awesome Hardware. This is episode 17, half B. If you didn't already watch half A, you can go watch that. It's over on Kyle's channel. That is if you're watching in the future and you're watching our re-uploads. If you're watching live, you cannot do that. You would have to go back in time.
Correct.
That would involve breaking the laws of time and space.
And a DeLorean.
Not that we don't put that past you. We have ultimate respect and admiration and faith in our viewers. But you might just want to wait for the re-upload. That would at least reduce the chance of invoking a major paradox. But yeah, we're going to start off my half of the show as we typically do by telling you about the first half of the show, which is Kyle's half. We do two halves of the show each week, and half goes on Kyle's channel and half goes on my channel. Other announcements to discuss today would be that you can now buy these fantastic pint glasses, English pint glasses. That makes them European and therefore foreign to us, which means they should cost more money, but they don't. They cost a normal amount of money.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
And the beer tastes delicious in them.
The beer tastes delicious in them as well. They have a bulge at the center, part of the theme of our show. That allows you to fit 4 additional ounces into them, making them 20 ounces glasses instead
They're alcoholic
of
friendly.
16 ounce glasses. Loading video and it stopped. All right. Are we?
Oh yeah. What?
According to my information, we should be streaming just fine, but a refresh might be necessary.
This mic is itching me.
On behalf of, at least it's not electrocuting you like mine was.
It might be.
Mine was kind of electrocuting me earlier. It was shocking me. That's why I'm wearing that sweatshirt.
The shocks might be.
Quick drink check
tickling.
to begin the show. Kyle picked up these beers for us.
I did.
This is called Urata, spelled J-U-R-A-T-A. There's a mermaid. I didn't point this out in Kyle's half of the show, but there's a mermaid on here, or the silhouette of a mermaid, which I thought was pretty cool. This is a Baltic Porter. It's quite good. And this is from Coronado Brewing Company in Coronado, California.
Good brewery.
Down by the bridge.
I'm drinking the Belching Beaver Brewery Peanut Butter Milk Stout. It's a stout with a natural flavor. Yeah.
Of peanut butter.
A peanut butter.
And milk.
It's really tasty, actually.
And stout.
I like it a lot.
It is quite good. I've had that one as well.
Yep.
Shout outs to Steve for introducing us to that one.
Indeed.
But on my half of if you missed Kyle's half of the show, it was mostly all about E3 stuff because E3 is this week and there's tons of information and news and new launches and releases and teasers about video games. Excuse me. What? Did you forget something?
Do you remember one of my predictions?
One of your predictions? Were you right?
I was right.
Kyle also made a bunch of predictions on his half of the show.
And Scott Watson has just confirmed, Scott Watson from Tech Report,
Scott Watson from Tech Report.
Gears of War Ultimate Edition is coming to the PC!
Yes!
Dude.
High five.
Dude.
Beautiful. That was
amazing.
Amazing deduction work, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
Gears of War, which I've actually played on Xbox 360, one of the earlier versions. I don't know which Gears of War it was. There's a few of them.
Yeah.
But fun game. One of those ones you've looked at it from the PC side. It's been like, oh, it's one of those console exclusives.
Right.
But as Kyle very accurately predicted earlier,
holy shit.
because right now, and big thank you to all of you guys who are watching us live right now, because there is also another live event going on right now, which is a PC Gamer / AMD event where they're talking about some stuff. Now, don't worry, because all the really important stuff was announced this morning with regards to AMD's Fury line of graphics cards.
Yep.
AMD Fury, Fiji-based GPUs. We're going to be going over all of that in just a moment. Speaking of which, I should bring that information up so I can share it with people. But Kyle predicted this. What did you predict, Kyle? Can you explain it in more detail?
Yeah, I mean, I basically, before we even started the show, I asked Paul to think of some predictions for the PC Gaming Show, what kind of stories or what kind of news they would be revealing during the stream that's going on right now, I believe. And Paul said Banana Fight.
I did.
Which was very
I predicted a Banana Fight at the show.
But I was also like, look, dude, Cliff Broskinski, Cliff, whatever his name is, lead of Gears of War franchise, is going to be speaking at this event. do you think maybe Gears of War is coming to PC? And if that is true, then maybe there's going to be other Xbox One games that come to PC.
Kyle, there's no way that's happening.
With the whole integration of Windows 10 being, updated on the Xbox One, I was like, it has to. Because what other business would he have there at the PC gaming show other than to reveal something about PC gaming if he's the leader of a previously Xbox exclusive franchise? So I'm really glad that prediction was correct, because Gears of War is actually one of my favorite franchises.
Really?
It is.
I did not know this.
It is. Even though it's been so long since I've played it, Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 I played the whole way through. Also played it thoroughly with friends, also multiplayer online. It was a blast. It was like my favorite game for Xbox 360. I thought it was really well done. The graphics were top-notch for its time. Story was okay, but again, about the gameplay and like the weapons, the weaponry that you could have in that game, the multiplayer was so fun. Yeah. So I'm really glad to be seeing it come to PC, because that means we can all play it now. All of us in the PC Master Race can all play Gears of War now. I mean, this is a first.
Oh no!
This is a first that we were never able to say before. We can play Gears of War, which is cool.
Sorry,
I'm really excited, actually.
I just closed the show doc accidentally.
So,
it's not good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, Kyle, and I'm actually very glad as well that you were correct with your. It was a very educated guess.
It was.
Yeah. And yeah.
Just like the Radeon Fury Macho was.
Kyle was like, why would a guy who works on a game that's been a console exclusive for a long time be speaking at an event that's pretty much dedicated to like the PC side of gaming?
Nailed it!
Yeah, beautiful.
Nailed it! Well, cool.
All right. We also apparently have an NHL 16 announcement for the PC. That's for people who are interested in hockey.
Is that EA, probably?
We live in the United States, which means we don't care.
Yeah, even Paul, I'm a Propos, was like, Gears of War Ultimate Edition for PC, are you serious? And yes. Steve, Gears of War coming to PC. Everyone's tweeting about it. Okay.
Everyone's tweeting about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're at the event, too, and it makes it more exciting.
True.
All right, so is there a Spanish commercial still playing in the background right now? Because I was trying to make sure that none of that actually happened.
Yeah, someone said that Spanish commercial in the back. Ganja man.
Is it... Twitch should let you watch my half of the show. I don't know that any Spanish commercial is playing. At least I'm not getting any actual indication
of audio being played.
It gives a little icon with a little word on it.
That's super exciting, though.
There's something playing here. I'll pause it. Okay.
Bob from KB Mod says, anytime Gears of War is mentioned, I immediately hear Mad World play in my head. You remember that trailer? That really, esoteric trailer?
That actually was a really badass.
It was. And that frickin' song is so good.
And that's actually a really cool song, too.
Yeah.
It's one of those, kind of depressing songs, but it's like it reminded me like when I used to listen to Counting Crows sometimes. And
Counting Crows, yeah.
It's sad, but it's deep. It's deep because it's sad.
They get me.
It's sad. Okay.
Right.
Moving right along, though, I promised you guys some technological news. And I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to show you my mugs.
Technologic.
Look, mugs on my store. Okay, I meant to show that earlier. But yeah, mugs are now available on my store. Let's talk about AMD's announcements this morning.
What do we got?
Literally this morning, AMD had a press conference.
Yep.
They finally officially announced the Fury series of graphics cards. Okay, let's be honest. They announced the 300 series of graphics cards, which are all rebadges, and we don't care as much about, I guess.
In a way, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Let's straight up here. When it comes to the AMD 300 series, they're all rebadges. They're all rebrands of previously existing GPUs. So like a 390 and the 390X are the 290 and the 290X, for example. Granted, they've done some there's what is called manufacturing refinement, which is when you take a GPU and you make it better. It's a simplification, but it's that's why the 390s and the 390Xs will be running at higher clock speeds than the 290s and the 290Xs when they launched, is because of refinements in the manufacturing process.
Right.
There's something to be said for that, and yes, They're the same GPUs, but yes, they usually do work out some improvements as time goes on with something like that.
Yep.
But top to bottom, from the 390X all the way down to the 360, I think, was the lowest end one that they announced.
Yeah, the R7.
They're all rebadges and rebrands, and they've all been around for 1, 2, or even 3
years.
Plus years.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they're taking maybe a card that, when it came out 2.5 years ago, cost $550, and now you can get it for $200, so something to be said there.
Right.
They are competitively priced, but you're looking at older architecture, which is just inherently less exciting for folks like us who are always like, what's new and all that good stuff. But
yeah.
AMD has new stuff too. And they did what has been talked about and kind of predicted that they were going to do about it, at least in the past, I don't know, within the past month or two, that we started to hear, hey, 390X isn't going to be the top card.
Right.
They're going to compartmentalize all of the 300 series cards into the 300 series cards, and then they're going to come out with these Halo products, much like NVIDIA has done with like the Titan.
Yeah.
Whereas the Titan isn't a GTX whatever, it's the Titan. And they've tried to set it in a class on its own, and of course charge much more money for it, but create this halo at the top. And that's what AMD has done with the R9 Fury X and the R9 Fury. And they finally announced today that these are actual cards, that these are not the 300 series, so they're not rebadges or
and
refinements.
They're using HBM.
They're actually new.
They're using a high bandwidth memory. That's
the biggest news probably, is that they're using HBM or high bandwidth memory in order to sort of bump stuff up to the next level. According to the press conference that they had earlier today, talking with some of the engineers, they said this has been in the works for 5 to 7 years. They looked going back this far, and that goes back all the way to ATI days, I believe. And some of the engineers they've had who came over from ATI when AMD acquired them, and they were looking at what they needed to do to improve overall GPU performance, and they're like, it all comes down to memory. Memory is a bottleneck. Memory is what we need to figure out something new for, and something beyond the GDDR5 memory that has been, doing a good job, but it's been in place for quite some time, and it's getting a little bit long in the tooth, as they said.
I don't know if you read this in the article that you have, but I read somewhere that 4 gigs of HBM memory is about equivalent to 6 gigs of GDDR5.
Yes, so that is something that remains to be seen, and as we look at this article from PC perspective here, which has kind of a layout of the card of the GPUs and everything, this is what nobody knows at this point, which is actual performance. There have been some performance leaks, but no performance numbers were directly shared by NVIDIA or by AMD right today. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe at the PC Live event that they're showing right now that nobody should care about. You should continue watching our video. Maybe they're talking about some of that there. But we have not seen a third-party independent reviewer come out and say, hey, I've had this card and I've run it through a bunch of tests, and here's how it performs with comparison to, a 980 Ti, for example.
Yeah.
So we're looking for that to happen probably within the next week or two. I'm guessing there's some NDA that's going to lift at some point, which I am currently not privy to, so I can talk about it at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about some raw specs here first off, just to give you guys a comparison. Now, we heard Fury X numbers, and Fury X is the top GPU in this field. There's also a Fury. The Fury X is water cooled, so that's some of the teased images and stuff that we saw, like this picture that you can kind of see right here.
Yeah. Which
is a shorter card. It's about 7.5 inches long, attached to a 120 millimeter water cooled cooling unit.
I love how small that is, because that means you can still fit it in something like a Node 304, for example.
The card itself is very small, which is largely in part due to their ability to take this chip. This is an actual picture of the a Fiji chip, and what's actually you can see next to it are the actual memory modules. The Fiji chip is in the center, and this is how they've engineered this all so that the memory can be right next to the frickin' GPU.
Right.
So this is why the cards are so small, is because in a lot of cards that you look at, you have the GPU at the center, and then you have an array of memory that's out in between it.
Yeah.
And the memory typically has to be between the power delivery and the GPU itself.
Right.
So they're able to bring the power delivery closer.
And that means a much wider cooler as well. You've got a
Yeah.
greater distance you have to span with the heatsink and the fans and whatnot.
But it's still, I mean, as far as like the effectiveness of for instance, like with the Fury X, them using a water cooler for this, like you're taking most of the heat generating parts and you're compacting them all into the same area, which is why I think a water cooler makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why I think they're touting the Fury X at the top here. Now, there's all kind of speculations that we can make about the other cards in the line. So apart from the Fury X, we also have the Fury, which is going to be air-cooled. The Fury X is going to be $650.
Very competitive.
Right at the same price point as the 980 Ti, and they're saying it's the fastest GPU. Again, we don't know that.
Right.
But from what from what AMD says, it's the fastest card.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll trade blows with the 980 Ti, but if it does, then that's good.
Yeah. That'll almost force NVIDIA to lower the price of their 980 Ti a bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
Depending on how much better the Fury is.
It depends how much better it is, or whether it beats it outright, or whether it trades blows.
Yeah, yeah.
If it goes back and forth,
similar.
it's one thing. If it's faster across the board, then
Right.
then that's going to be a big difference there.
Right.
But let's run down the specs here real quick. Stream processors, this has 4096 as compared to 2816 that the 290X had. We're told the Fury should have the same amount, but that hasn't been confirmed yet.
Right.
Compute capability here's where people are looking at and being like pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the Titan X, for example, because the compute capability is 8.6 teraflops.
Yeah.
And the compute capability of a Titan X is 7 teraflops.
Yeah. So
just from a raw compute standpoint, the Fury X should beat the Titan X. 8.9 billion transistors, though. Again, the price of $650. It has a 500 watt TDP cooler. So the cooler that you can kind of see in some of these pictures, which, hold on, where's a better picture? So this cooler right here actually has a 500 watt, is capable of dissipating 500 watts of heat. But they're saying that the card actually is only spec'd to draw 275 watts, which means that the cooler is overkill.
Right.
But that's good because they've
whatnot.
already, at least in the press conference of this, speculatively discussed the overclocking potential, and they said it's got a lot.
Yeah.
And I hope they're being honest with that, because the 290X definitely wasn't that great of an overclocker, especially if you looked at the reference cooler.
Right.
But again, 7.5 inches long as far as the actual card itself, here to here. Granted, that's with the connection of an external 120 millimeter water cooling unit. But what else? It's got a 6-phase power delivery design with 400 amps of power, which I don't know. This was something that one of the AMD engineers was firing off towards the end of their event. 400 amps is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That could have been he could have misspoken there, but that's what he said.
Nice.
Other cool things about it has an 8 LED user addressable array for performance monitoring, and I don't think that's actually visible in any of the pictures that I have shown of this. No, it's not. But nevertheless, on the far side of the PCI Express bracket, there is an array of LEDs that can be configurable to some degree, at least according to what they say by the users, and also you can use to show like how much load is on the card, and that's cool. I'd like to see if it was also RGB, but whatever, it's probably just going to be red. And then the spec that they keep touting here, 1.5 times the performance per watt compared to the R9 290X.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yep.
From a generational standpoint,
Especially coming from AMD.
yeah, 10 to 30% is usually like acceptable from one generation to the next. 1.5 times is very good, and also something that they needed, I think, in order to kind of catch up to NVIDIA on the efficiency side of it, because that's something that NVIDIA has really been kind of hanging over AMD's head for a while. The other thing, when it comes to like efficiency, or when it comes to at least the road that AMD has gone down with this card and using the high bandwidth memory and the implementation that they have, is that we already know the Fiji based cards, the Fury X and the Fury Nano perhaps are they're very power efficient, and I'm sorry, they've gone with HBM memory. But we already know that AMD's next generation after this, Greenland, that we kind of discussed a little bit last week, as well as NVIDIA's next generation, Pascal, are both using HBM2, 2.0. So this is the future. I mean, that's pretty much been established at this point as far as what they... Oh no, there's an ad that keeps playing in the background. Oh, no. I'm really sorry about that, guys.
This page?
I have no idea which page it's on, but I don't know what I can do about it. Yeah, I had a little bit of a qualm earlier whenever I'm loading up websites to like show.
You can just turn down mute the Windows volume on the stream.
I bet it's this one. You're right, I could do that. All right, solved. I bet it's this though. I bet it's,
some people say they don't hear it.
I bet it's this site because this site had shockwave crashes earlier. Boo. Okay, though. All right, so that's kind of a rundown of your Fury X specifications that have been released.
Pretty exciting stuff.
By AMD today.
Nice.
But that's not all because we've only mostly talked about the Fury X so far. So we also have Fury, which will be a variant of this that just won't have... There's no pictures of the Fury so far. Yeah. Fury is supposed to be air-cooled, though. Excuse me. It's probably going to have pared down specs to some degree. It's going to be $550 as compared to $650.
Yeah.
And yeah, air-cooled. But if you see right here what AMD CEO Lisa Su is holding in her hand, and what is pictured probably larger on the screen behind her, is the R9 Nano, the Fury Nano. This one was... I had no idea this was coming.
Right.
But this kind of makes sense. Basically, it's a 6-inch long air-cooled version of Fiji. So they're taking Fiji or some variant of Fiji. I don't know, again, if it's pared down at all. They have stuck it on there with what looks to be a pretty simple air cooler on it.
Right.
I'm like, here you go. Here's your card.
Small form factor, high-end gaming PC.
Yeah, small form factor, high-end. And then the last card that they discussed... from other than the three we've mentioned, is a unnamed dual Fiji card, which is due out this fall. But we don't know much about that. Now here, this picture down here that I wanted to show you, this
Theory
is
XX
from a Hexus, is Project Quantum.
It's a PC, right? It's a mini PC.
So Quantum is like one of those like all-in-one jobs, or they designed this system. They worked with somebody to design and integrate everything into this system.
Right.
But basically, what you have at the top is your cooling. So up here you have a fan array and probably some radiators or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a connection point in the center, and then they say all of the hardware itself is down here at the bottom, and that this integrates some combination of... Well, what we know is in there is 2 Fiji cores, so it's like
nice.
a dual. It's like 2 Fury X's.
Right.
We don't know anything else about it. We don't know what they're using for a CPU in there, if it's Intel based or AMD based.
Right.
We don't know if this is some crazy early Zen thing, with the Zen stuff and Fury integrated, which should be badass. I think probably not. It's probably... I gotta say it's either probably Intel based in there. No, I say it's got to be Intel based. I don't know. I can't see them building something like this based on their current CPU architecture, because it's just pretty far behind as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're right. You're right, Nav1 Tech. There's an external power supply for this unit, which some people have pointed out. There's a video here about it. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it.
McAfee. David McAfee.
What? Oh, it's Dave McAfee.
I wonder if he invented McAfee.
I'm going to turn this up again, although people probably just hear the...
So there's like an external power brick for it?
Yeah, one of the shots of this system, this is just a video about them designing Project Quantum and building this custom rig for it. So, there you can see a little bit more. It's got a
It's not a mini PC if you have to carry around like a power supply sized power brick.
Yeah, but I mean... I think they're trying to design this more as like a set piece. You know, you can set it on top of a table and it'll look nice and tuck the power brick back behind. But yes, I agree. It would be better if they actually had
Power integrated.
Oh, hey, there's. Hold on. All right,
Mini ITX
Intel.
board.
They're using Intel.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
That's not Mini ITX though.
Oh, you're right. It's actually a little bit larger.
That's bigger. That's a proprietary board.
Yeah.
Some crucial memory though. But yeah, I mean, this is just an example of something that they've done with what they currently have as far as the GPUs. Yeah, big old radiator on top. It looks like with maybe a 180 millimeter fan or something like that going on. I don't know at what point in this video you can see the power brick. I forget where that was. People in the comments are already asking, is that an Intel processor down there? Yes. It looks like it probably is. But yeah, there's a power brick that goes along with this. And
I'd expect nothing less than a Core i7 if they're using two Fury X
yeah.
chips.
I mean, this has to be a high-end system.
Yeah.
And it has to be able to feasibly keep up with the Fury X's. They're not going to want to put anything in there that
might bottleneck
it or draw back from that. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was kind of cool. That's again Project Quantum, the console-sized mini PC with 2 Fiji GPUs. All right. And
promising stuff.
I think that's
all for that.
I think that's most of what I was going to talk about for that.
Cool.
Yeah, the Project Quantum is designed, according to them, for 4K and VR applications, and it will be available this autumn.
Nice.
As far as what they said.
Nice.
Speaking of availability, I should talk about availability dates.
Please
also,
do.
if I didn't mention, and I saw some people mentioning in chat, but according to AMD, the Fury X runs at about 50 to 55 degrees Celsius under load.
Wow.
So with
That's
all
really
of that
impressive.
stuff that we already talked about.
Fury and Fury X?
Well, we don't know about Fury yet.
Okay, so just the liquid cooled
They were
one
mostly
runs 55.
talking about Fury X,
Okay.
which makes sense because Fury X is coming out sooner.
Yeah.
Fury X will be available June 24th,
Nice.
which is in about 10 days.
Week
Even
and
sooner,
a half.
next week sometime.
Yeah.
Fury will be available July 14th. Fury Nano will be available later this summer.
And they haven't released the price for that yet.
Fury Nano, we don't know the price,
So-
but if the Fury is $550, I have to say the Fury Nano should be about the same price.
Yeah.
Fury Nano, to me, is going to be a probably underclocked version of Fury, but smaller and maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Makes sense.
there's no other explanation for how they would do that. If Fury
Right.
and Fury Nano are both air-cooled,
Yeah.
and Fury Nano is smaller, then that's the only way it seems to me that they could make Fury Nano work would be to tune it down a little bit, underclock it,
Yeah.
and that way they could get away with the cooling on it. But yeah, that's pretty much that.
Cool.
And let's talk about the 390s, the 300 series though, because
What's there to say?
that was also talked about. What is there to say? Well,
You told me about some
yeah.
interesting article that someone on ardForum had posted.
Yes,
the
so we're
vbios.
gonna come to that in just a second.
Okay.
Here's a quick look at the 300 series that was announced. Again, it's less exciting simply because we know all of these are rebadges. So we have the 390, 380, 370, 360, R7s and R9s. The R7 360 is for 1080p performance. It's $110. The 370 can have up to 4 gigs. The 360 should have 2 gigs of memory. The 370 should have up to 4 gigs and be $150. If you're looking for higher resolutions for 1440p, they say the 380 will work for you with 4 gigs, and that's $200. Sorry, Nori's going to bark for a moment here.
Oh, that's okay.
The 390 is $329. The 390X is $429, and those both have 8 gigs of memory, and they're for your higher resolution gaming.
Yeah.
Going to beyond 1440, so your 4K and your 1600s.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You can now get 8 gigs of memory. That's more than a GTX 980 Ti for far less money. Or for,
yes, but
for
don't
slightly
but
less
don't
money.
confuse memory, like the amount of video memory, with
To clock
the
speed
actual
and
performance of the
architecture.
card.
Of course, I'm just saying we've come a long way in terms of frame buffer
Yes.
in the last few years, especially.
And that's also
recently.
one of the things that, as far as the memory interface of the HBM memory that we were talking about before with Fury goes. I feel like I hear music playing again. Yeah, there is stuff playing again.
Oh,
It's this page.
oh, is it? It's her. It's her. I see her talking.
I see her.
Family.
I hate her.
Stupid family.
Whatever. I'm gonna silence
Families are
them.
dumb.
Silenced.
Mm.
All right. See, now I just showed people one of my other stories that we're gonna talk about.
Thank you,
later.
Max, for letting us know.
Yes, thank you, Max, and sorry about that. The HBM memory. So high bandwidth memory. I never told you how high the bandwidth is. It's 4,000. It's 4,000 bits.
I think we talked about that.
We didn't. I didn't
last
say
episode.
in the last episode, yes, but that was speculative.
Ah,
Uh,
confirmed.
Now we can actually confirm.
4,000 bits.
4,000. It's 4K bit
Yeah,
or 4 megabit.
that's the bandwidth,
Inter-
or that's the interface.
that's the
Bus width.
Yeah, that's the bus width. That's not like the storage.
Or the speed
Whatever.
or
So that's
anything.
pretty crazy. So like the widest bandwidth we've seen by comparison would be like with the 290 or 290X, which is 512.
512, yeah.
Stuff like it's a 980 and a 980 Ti, I think, are 384.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah, I believe.
So we're talking about 8 times the amount of
Yeah.
512.
And this is also why the Fury and the Fury X are able to get away with having less memory. They only have 4 gigs of memory compared to the 390 and 390X, which have 8 gigs, or compared to your Titan X, which has 12, for example, or your 980 Ti, which has 6,
Right.
for example.
Not all memory is created equal anymore.
Yes. So this will be another very important question to be answered by reviews and benchmarks and that sort of thing in the near future, which will be how much of a trade-off do you get with having 4 gigs of memory but having that crazy high amount of 4,000 bit bandwidth.
Yep.
Okay.
Can't wait for the benchmarks.
Here's a funny little article about the 390 and 390X, though.
What's that?
This is the one you were kind of referencing earlier.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was really funny,
So, Best Buy accidentally sold 300 series cards starting this weekend. They had the 390 and the 390X, at least, I believe, available for sale.
Yep.
So some folks went and bought them because they were there. And a guy over on ardForum by the name Sir Play a Lot got one of the XFX Radeon R9 390X 8 gig video cards, and he went ahead and started posting some images of it. And he was like, "Hey guys, what do you want to see with this?" So like, "Oh, let's see a die shot." So he did a disassembly of the card and posted it there. And basically people are like, "Yeah, that's pretty much looks very similar to a 290X." So this is a comparison flashing back and forth between a 290X PCB
very similar.
and a 390X PCB, which is pretty much like, hey, they're like pretty much exactly the same as far as you can tell. He did some benchmarks, so here's a Firestrike score, 10,449.
Nice.
Here's your GPU Z shot of it, 300 series, and all that good stuff. Now, it does have 8 gigs of memory. So memory size here is going to be higher than most 290Xs out there, though granted there are 290Xs that have 8 gigs. Here's the actual original post by the guy, and other people on ardForum are responding and saying, hey, do this or do this. And he did post a bunch of pictures of like the box, unboxing the XFX version of the card. This is one that has a stock PCB. There's the shot of the board itself. There's a shot of the back of the board with the... Oh, I can't scroll down that far. Hold on, I gotta do this.
Looks exactly like it, like a 290X.
Yeah, so it looks pretty much the same. And the funny thing in this story is that another thing that he did was he took the vbios, copied it off of the card, and uploaded it because ardForum...
From the 390X, right?
From the 390X. So there's people who have 290Xs going back as far as 2013, flashing them with the new vbios and being like, I got a 390X now. Sweet.
And it's like same performance pretty much? Like
no, I mean...
Not quite, right? But
so
better.
Yeah, my theory as far as what would happen, I'm pretty sure this would be accurate, is one, you're not going to have the same amount of memory.
Yeah.
You should be able to still flash the BIOS, but you're going to have 4 gigs instead of 8 gigs, so that will affect your performance in situations where you need more than 4 gigs of memory. Also, they may have tuned the 390X vBIOS to be more aggressive with things like GPU boost and that sort of thing, based on yields and based on the performance of the GPUs they're going to put with 390Xs. So you probably would have a higher likelihood of like load up a 390X vBIOS on your 290X from a couple of years ago, and suddenly you're getting blue screens or fragmentation or artifacts or performance is not what you might expect it, just because those GPUs aren't performing quite as well as the 390Xs,
right,
which are in better shape. They're benefiting from 2 further years of refinement and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, you could at least get a higher clock speed.
Yes, you can.
All right,
It's
another
always
box. But yeah, that's all a result of Best Buy selling those over the weekend. The 390Xs aren't actually supposed to go to sale for sale, I think, till Thursday. I think just a couple more days.
Right.
And you'll be able to buy those at retail.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on a little bit.
Sweet.
Shockwave Flash has crashed.
Uh-oh.
That means I need to close that.
Oh no. What's happening?
What?
I hate
Just
Shockwave.
means that's my indication that a website is crappy. Because either they poorly put together
That's on them.
something with Shockwave Flash, or they are allowing crappy ads with poor Shockwave Flash to run. Speaking of websites that do that, The Independent, which is where this article comes from, which I believe is also where you guys have been hearing random videos playing from time to time. I got some stupid survey popping up on the side. All right, normally I don't even show ads.
This looks pretty
Look
sketchy,
how
man.
many. Yeah, why am I
I don't
even
know.
showing this?
I don't know if you want to be on the site for too much longer.
I don't know. I was looking for an article on this, and this one popped up, and it seemed reasonable.
There had to have been more websites.
But all right, so Xbox 360. One of the announcements Microsoft made was that the Xbox 360. I'm sorry, the Xbox One is now going to be backwards compatible with the Xbox 360 games.
Yes.
Yay! Play your Xbox 360 games on the Xbox One. Look, here's a stupid ad that keeps playing. And that's here. I'm going to scroll down this article. Look how many. All right, I'm closing this.
Wow.
I'm done.
What's going on here?
We're going to go over to ZDNet, which has a much more reasonable article. Although Shockwave Flash has also crashed on this website.
Yikes.
All right, so Xbox 360 games on Xbox One. Most
So-
of you probably don't care.
Right.
That's all. That's the end of the story.
The end.
No.
Ah.
No, there's a little bit more to it than that.
Okay.
All right, so first off, a lot of people would say Xbox One should have been able to play Xbox 360 games right from the get-go, right out of the gate.
Sure, why not?
They should have just done that. That would have been cool. You're right, that would have been cool, and you're right, they could have done that.
But woulda, coulda, shoulda.
It's not as simple as they, directly went and turned it off, though.
Yeah.
It would not have been a simple thing, because the Xbox 360 was PowerPC based, whereas Xbox One is x86 based,
Right.
with AMD hardware. So emulating one to the other is an issue. Actually going all the way back to the Xbox, which was, I believe, also x86 based,
Yeah.
Xbox to Xbox 360 had the same issue,
Right.
with emulation and with having backwards compatibility for games.
Yeah.
All that aside, though, Xbox or Microsoft has been able to build an Xbox 360 emulator that can be run on the Xbox One,
Okay.
which means they've solved the problem of doing PowerPC emulation from the Xbox 360 on the Xbox One. Again, this is something they could have put their minds to and solved long ago, a couple years ago. But if you set that aside, it's still some good news to some degree. They are promising 100 of the biggest Xbox 360 games to be available on Xbox One by fall. They're promising 450 plus total, so they said hundreds more to follow. So they're going to be continually working on the Xbox 360 library to, one, make sure that the games work properly with the emulator, and two, to make sure that the game publishers are okay with them republishing. I don't even know if that's like the right word or whatever for Xbox One.
Right.
And then if you guys do have consoles and you're wondering how this works, if you already bought the digital copy of the game, the Xbox 360 game, then and you're using the same login for Xbox One, it'll just appear.
Nice.
You'll just have it and you can download it.
Nice.
Or they're saying you can also take your physical media, so your actual physical disc for your Xbox 360 game, and put it in your Xbox One, and it won't just play off of it, but it'll recognize it, and then it will download the game.
Gotcha.
So you can't just like play the games off of the discs, but you can use them, I guess, to validate that you have the actual legit copy of the game and then download it.
Right.
So that's how that's going to work. Now, the reason I'm even discussing this at all is, one, because I have a sword fight question in just a bit that we're going to discuss based on it. But two, is because for those of you guys out there who maybe played Xbox 360 in the past, and I will say that I fall into that category. I do have some beloved games on Xbox 360 that I played.
Same.
But who have maybe been interested in emulation of Xbox 360 on Windows, which there's no real, at least from what I can't say I've extensively attempted this, but from what I've read a bit of, there's not really a good Xbox 360 emulator on PC. And that whole PowerPC,
maybe now.
Yeah, and that PowerPC thing might have had a lot to do with it, making that much more complex for like, an at-home, in my spare time kind of software developer to have put together.
Right.
But maybe now that Xbox themselves has done this and is building it for Xbox One, we could maybe see somebody take that and reappropriate it, so to speak, for use with Windows.
Right.
That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, especially with the very recent announcement that they're going to have games like Gears of War Ultimate Edition being played on PC. Well, it's like if we start to see more Xbox One games funnel over to PC and be playable on that platform, then what's to say that we can't now play Xbox 360 games on an emulator via PC just because Xbox One is already doing it, or plans to do it. So that opens up even more games that we could play. And imagine if we could like tune the graphics up to make it look better than what it actually ever looked like on Xbox 360. That would be really cool.
Well, that would involve
that requires a lot more
than
coding
just,
and whatnot.
More than just making it like compatible with the emulator or whatever.
But you do still occasionally see those games that get re-released on like PlayStation 3, for example, where it's like, Resident Evil 4 HD version, where, like the developer has actually recrafted a game that's 6 or 7 years old and made it HD on this new platform because the hardware can take advantage of it. Now all of a sudden you're seeing basically remastered games in HD or in better graphics, which is cool. I like it.
Yeah. Sorry. Chat crashed for me, so I had to reload it.
Oh, chat. What's going on, chat? Talk to us.
Let's continue, though.
What do we got?
We're going to move on to another segment. This first segment has been news, by the way. Tech news. I never segmentized it.
That was the first segment?
Right. Yeah, that was the first segment. We're almost done, though.
Okay.
We've been going far too long already. We're going to move on to another segment called What's Your Favorite?
What's your favorite?
All right, so this segment is basically where Kyle and I each talk about what our favorite things are.
Okay.
Usually within some type of category.
Sweet.
Since we've been talking about E3 today, the category is E3. So I'm going to ask you guys as well, and we'll all check chat in just a moment.
Cool.
About what your favorite things are from E3 so far. Now, the other thing I want to point out is we've been pretty I'd say open-minded so far when it comes to like I don't know, the whole PC versus console thing. Like, granted, we've been talking about a lot of like console ports and that kind of thing, which sometimes are frowned on by the PC
Hold on one
community,
sec. People are wondering
yes.
what the hell the flickering blue thing is off the reflection of my glasses.
Oh.
It's actually this USB powered fan that I've had plugged into my laptop for the entire show. It's been plugged onto the other side.
It's only just now been discovered.
It's just now been discovered. I'm sure some people caught it earlier. But if you can see there, it's actually Rocket. You got this from the Rocket booth in Taipei?
Yeah, Rocket. That was one of my Rocket pieces of swag.
Good old Rocket. It's a fan. It's just USB fan. Sorry, I didn't realize it was reflecting off my glasses.
Like, what is
distracting everyone in chat.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys have to deal with that.
It's a nice little fan. I wish you could turn off the LEDs though.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Because you don't always want those LEDs shining at you.
True. But there you guys go. Sorry about that. Continue.
So back to what's your favorite. You guys are already telling us some of your favorite things that have been announced so far. Kyle and I each have a couple things to talk about as far as things we've seen that we enjoyed or thought might be our favorite things from E3. We each have a couple to mention. I'm going to try to go through these fairly quickly since we're already running long,
and I have to pee.
like we usually do, and Kyle has to pee.
Yep.
But I'm going to start off with mine, which I don't know. I feel a little bit guilty about.
Why?
Because it's a console game.
Oh, shun the non-believer.
This is Uncharted 4.
Oh, I can't blame you for that, though.
Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. This was at the PlayStation E3 2015 demo conference thing. And yes, like, basically, I've played Uncharted before on PlayStation, and it's just really fun. Yeah, it's just one of those games that's very... very fun to play. It's one of those games where I've played with 5-6 people in the room, and those people just watch the gameplay. Oh yeah. And it's entertaining enough because of the dialogue and because of the storyline and because of the action that's involved.
Characters are really good. Yeah.
And yeah,
it's a badass game. It's a really good game. I don't care what platform you root for. It's just a good game.
Yeah, I would like to see this game, for example, carried over to PC. That's probably not going to happen.
Oh, that'd be so good.
It's probably going to be PlayStation only again.
That'd be just as good as Gears of War.
But yeah, if you guys have a chance and you want to watch this video, it's great. It shows that's the other thing I liked about this was it was an actual gameplay demo. Yeah. And I actually saw a lot of these so far for the E3 coverage, which was they're not just saying like here's our game and showing like some cinematography. CGI thing they put together.
No one cares about that, really.
Here's a segment of the game that we have put together, and we're going to do a live gameplay demo for you right here. Yeah. And that's what they did with it, and it was very enjoyable to watch. And
it looks very action-packed, as always, in true Nathan Drake fashion.
Indeed.
Looks like that's Sully in the cockpit right there, sitting shotgun.
Yeah, so
Sully's made a return. Very nice to see.
Nathan Drake and Sully. There's a driving segment that goes along here, and... this crazy part at the end, I feel like, where he hooks onto a crane.
And this isn't
and just goes flying over a bridge, hanging onto a crane, and then it ends. Anyway, okay, so Uncharted 4.
A Thief's End.
Thief's End.
Very nice.
Yes. Anyway, so that was one of the things that I spotted there, where I was like, that's pretty cool. All right. Yeah. Kyle, though.
Yes. One of my favorite stories from E3 was what we actually talked about briefly, pretty extensively actually, in the last segment of the show, was Star Wars Battlefront, particularly the multiplayer. As I was telling Paul and the rest of you guys earlier, it wasn't a game that I was specifically interested in. Again. Damn you ads! Until I saw this video. Until I saw the multiplayer ad, gameplay demo at E3, when I was like, really like... okay, I think I actually have to get this game now because it just looks really nice and well put together. There's a lot of things you can do in it that we haven't been able to do in previous like first-person shooter Star Wars games, especially online.
Oh no, it's the wrong video.
I mean, it looks like it could be like Modern Warfare or like, Advanced Warfare from whatever Call of Duty series.
I don't know how this became this video. I think you must have linked me the wrong thing. What? Because this is EA's 6 most important.
No, go down, scroll down. There's another video maybe. There you go.
Oh, that's because I played the wrong video.
It was like a recap
Battlefront.
article.
There's going to be another ad that we have to watch.
Yeah,
Screw
sorry about
you,
that, guys.
ad.
I should have linked you to the YouTube video.
Not making people watch.
But I don't know. This just looks amazing. I think I could really see myself getting into the whole Star Wars mindset with this game, especially online. I don't know. It's like what I always wanted for a Star Wars game, but has never really come. Like, and a lot of the Star Wars games have been pretty good, like the Old Republic and things like that. But this is the first one, as far as multiplayer goes, where, like, I don't know, it feels more like competitive-y, or competitive-y, or it just feels more like, you know, like Battlefield. It feels like you're playing Battlefield, but it's in true Star Wars fashion.
All right.
I don't know. It stood out to me. The graphics look awesome. LucasArts always puts on some good graphics. And you can use the Force on the battlefield. You can be a Jedi or Sith Lord. At least that's what the trailer is alluding to, and I think that's really cool also. Kind of adds a new dynamic to the gameplay.
And I have to say, after Kyle was watching this earlier, and he's like, you just need to watch this, and I just sat there watching it, and I was like, yeah, that looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, alright, so Star Wars Battlefront.
It does.
Very, very exciting. Something that Kyle's looking forward to, I'd have to say.
Apparently the video was kind of loud.
Well. The video was loud? Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Just a tad.
Alright, here's another one that people in chat have already been calling out.
What's that?
It is my second thing that I was very happy and excited to see, along with my wife. This is the Final Fantasy VII Remake that was revealed at the Square Enix demonstration that they had going on. So, Final Fantasy VII is just one of those games where people who played it were very excited about it, I guess. I mean, it's just always, it's just been one of my all-time favorite games. And it's one of those games that I've gone back to try to play before and been like, man, the rosiness, you know, rose-tinted glasses looking at the past or whatever. Like, it's one of those games where like, wow, at the time these graphics were awesome.
Yeah.
Now they're really they really hold you back.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of get past like, oh well, it's blocky graphics because this is from 2000. Not even 2000. When did Final Fantasy VII come out? Yeah, 98 or 99, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a really short trailer that they showed. Basically, all they were doing was showing a bit of CGI demo here with the trailer and confirming that yes, we are working on this.
That's cool. That's exciting.
But yeah, I mean, there's Barrett right there with his arm gun that he's got. And there's Cloud with his big ass sword, which they made wider somehow. That's even wider now. And the Final Fantasy VII logo with the remake.
I never played Final Fantasy VII, so this might be a good opportunity for me to actually check it out.
Yeah, I mean the story is just one of those
legendary game.
It's one of those games with like the music in the game is awesome.
Yeah.
My wife has the
soundtrack.
Has orchestral versions of some of the music from it, and we like listen to them sometimes, and it's just always like really awesome.
That's how you know it's a good soundtrack when you can listen to it outside of the game.
It's got this really epic storyline. It's very deep in kind of a Japanese RPG kind of way.
Yeah.
And very like, oh, like everything is important. And
everything's dramatic.
Everything's dramatic and important and everything, but yeah, just really, really cool game.
You know, Final Fantasy VII was the first video game in history to have a televised national commercial.
That is true. Yes. Very true.
Fun fact.
And yes, as Polog, I think Polog is mentioning in chat, it's this Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be PlayStation 4. It's gonna. This has been more thing. Instead of it being exclusive, it's exclusive for a brief period of time, so like for a month or something. So it's going to be first on PS4, but they did say it's going to be available on multiple platforms. And I would say, yeah, they better freaking release this on PC because Final Fantasy VII you can already get on PC and just play. All right, cool. Kyle had one more.
I talked about this also in my segment on the first half of the show, which was Tom Clancy's The Division. I thought the game looked really nice. I think it was one of the nicer looking demos that I've seen personally. I like the setting. I love that it's in New York City. The graphics look amazing. Like when it's snowing, like the snowfall just kind of breezing past the characters and whatnot and falling on the objects in the environment look really clean. I think the style of gameplay really fits my gameplay style personally. What I like how you can take cover and things like that. Also, I was reading a review that someone had done on this demo when they played it at E3, and they said that they were playing this mission, and when they got to the pinnacle of the mission where they were like all the players were supposed to evac off of this chopper, they were met with another team of players, like actual players in the mission.
Oh.
And they both had like loot that they needed to get on the chopper and leave. They all needed to bounce, but they couldn't tell whether or not the other players they had encountered were friendly or foe, or how they would react. Kind of like a DayZ moment where you're like, is he going to shoot me or is he cool?
Huh.
Right?
I like that.
So that kind of adds a new dynamic of like multiplayer like interaction, I guess, in the game. That kind of intrigued me, and it just seems different for this style of game, for this type of game. So I'm kind of curious to see what else they bring to the table with the Division. But that was probably my other takeaway from E3 as of late.
All right, well, we had a bunch of people saying things in chat as far as what they actually liked and everything. Definitely saw quite a few people say Doom.
Yeah.
Was something that was like,
it's a big
hell
one.
Yeah. Doom, Fallout 4, of course.
Doom looks pretty kick-ass.
All the Half-Life 3 news has just been crazy. There's been
off the charts.
Half-Life 3 everywhere.
It's all been confirmed.
AMD Zen, I saw as well. That was not actually announced, but we're expecting that next year. Yeah, cool. All right, so
fun.
Moving along, I actually have 2 more segments left to do and 0 minutes to do it in.
What are we going to do?
No, I have a few minutes.
How are you going to handle it?
All right, we're going to do a sword fight lightning round. What do you say?
I'm down.
And we'll do the only actual lower thirds of this sword fight.
Okay.
Time for sword fight.
All right.
All right, so traditionally on my half of the show, when we do sword fight, I bring up a very, very important question.
This will probably have to be the last segment, otherwise I will probably.
Yeah, this is the last segment.
Okay.
We'll skip the Q&A.
Cool.
I asked a very important question.
Yes.
Kyle and I take opposite sides. We're going to do very short arguments this time, and then we ask you the same question, and we see who's right. So I'm already posting the first straw poll. You guys already heard us talk earlier about the Xbox One now being backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games.
Right.
So the question is very simple. Do you now want an Xbox One? That is the question here. So Kyle, do you want one now?
No.
Or no?
No, this changes nothing, Paul.
All right, so Kyle's going to take no, this changes nothing. Kyle, why? Why no, this changes nothing?
The reason why this changes nothing is because I have already had my fill of Xbox 360 games. I've owned an Xbox 360 for a good 2-3 years. I played all the games I wanted to play. It's dead and gone. I'm not going to buy a next-gen console to play last-gen console games.
Okay.
It's not worth the initial investment to buy a newer piece of hardware to play older software.
And I would agree with you, particularly if an Xbox 360 emulator currently existed for the PC in some viable frame of mind or scenario. But
yes,
since it doesn't right now, I'm going to argue based on that.
Okay.
And here's my argument. So I'm primarily a PC gamer.
Of course.
I can't say that I've played a console game in quite some time now. Probably not since GTA 5, actually, on Xbox 360. However, I have owned, cognizantly or not, I have come to own at least one console from the last 2 generations of consoles.
Yeah.
As those have launched. So
Same.
I had I didn't have an Xbox, but I had PlayStation 2. I didn't have a PlayStation 3, but I had an Xbox 360.
Gotcha.
So I got both of those. So I'll say that some of the reasons I had those consoles was to play older games, and this now being the possibility for an Xbox One being able to play older Xbox 360 games. I do have Xbox 360 games over there, hard copies. That could be a viable reason for me. So that's why this changes everything. Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm wrong. Everyone disagrees. Everyone says, no, this changes nothing. which is kind of what I thought as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a PC gamer, you probably don't have a whole lot of reason to go for an Xbox 360.
Right.
But that's question number 1. All right.
Gotcha.
Question number 2.
What's
This one I think is kind of interesting.
What's that?
So we talked already about the Fury X, the Fury Nano launching now, and I'm posting this question in chat, which is basically, these have been announced. We know, here's the big thing, and the reason why I almost didn't even ask this question, but this is just speculative anyway, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
We know nothing about the performance. We know some really early maybe rumors. We have no hard performance numbers from AMD, and especially we have no hard performance numbers from anywhere else. That said,
let's sword fight.
RIP NVIDIA. Is NVIDIA dead? NVIDIA should just
kneel over, keel over, and die.
they should just throw in the towel. AMD has come out with a superior product, and there's no way that that there's anything else can happen. Here are my 3 answers, which are want to buy a GTX 980 Ti, which is basically saying yes. Second answer is Pascal will rule all. If you're looking, if you're forward looking, that means NVIDIA is going to win. And the third answer is just maybe Intel. Maybe Intel's coming up with it. All right. So
Iris Pro for the win.
All right. So you're going to take the Iris Pro side. Why should we abandon discrete graphics cards entirely and go with
discrete
Iris
graphics
Pro?
are the devil.
Okay.
All right. They're big.
Yep.
They're powerful.
Use far too much energy.
So inefficient. An iGPU is small, and it's efficient, and it's sexy, baby. Everyone wants an iGPU these days. No one has room these days. We're also space conscious. You don't need a dedicated video card. Just get an iGPU. Just get 30 FPS is cool. Whatever, 720. Who cares? Come on.
People are asking.
You'll save so much money in the long run. What are people asking?
Somebody is asking where the AMD options are. The AMD option is want to buy a GTX 980 Ti.
What's that?
Sorry. The AMD option here is if you're voting for AMD and RIP NVIDIA,
you're selling your 980
want to buy a GTX 980 Ti.
You're selling
sorry if that didn't come across there.
Gotcha.
That's the answer you want to choose.
Brilliant.
Right.
Yeah. Come
on. The
really?
Manic Geek, thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for hanging out. You almost made it to the end.
See you later.
We're almost done anyway. Cal's got to pee.
Yes.
All right. I will vote for want to buy a GTX 980 Ti. I think the Fury and the Fury X will dominate everything. There'll be no reason to buy an NVIDIA card, and that everyone should sell their 980 Ti right now. Right now. Okay. Let's see what people said.
I just bought an
All right.
Sweet.
It looks like people are on AMD's side right now.
Cool.
Here's what I will say. AMD, having been behind the game for a while now, seeing some of the reports of like their market share when it comes to discrete GPUs and all that kind of thing, people love an underdog, and if nothing else, AMD has that going for them. But everything we've heard about Fury and Fury X has been very positive. I really hope they're not blowing smoke. I really, really hope they're not. And it needs to at least go back and forth with a Titan X or a 980 Ti.
Yeah.
If they're on that level right now, and the power consumption is where it should be, I mean,
I think we're talking.
Yeah, then we're back in the competitive GPU game. All right. I have one last thing to talk about here. This is completely unrelated to anything else we've discussed today.
What's that?
I was almost gonna do a segment about Tales from Space.com. That's one of the segments that we do every once in a while.
Right.
But I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I shortened it. Wait, I need to.
Did
all right.
Now?
So Matt, right?
What?
We'll post this in chat here for a second before we move on. So Matt has been missing.
Who's Matt?
Matt Philly.
Oh.
You know Matt Philly, right? He's been missing for quite some time.
Yes. What?
Has he? Yeah, it's been a serious situation.
No, he is not.
Matt Philly has
recently
just recently been found, right? Much to the surprise of many people, Matt was found.
That's Philae.
Lander
Philae.
On the he was
not Philly.
He
it's
woke
not
up.
Matt Philly. You're talking
So
about.
he was found on the Comet 67P/Churyumov Gerasimenko. Right? He was actually asleep. He was in hibernation for quite some time. The reason was when Matt Philly originally was going to land on this comet. Hold on, there's a chart here.
If that's possible, how did Matt Philly post a tweet 46 minutes ago?
Where'd my chart go?
Yeah, he just posted a tweet. He tweeted.
This article was supposed to have lots of. Oh, there it is. There's no chart. All right.
Look,
so
here he is on a
you can
slide
see when
with
Matt
a computer
Philly,
case in
when
his
Matt
hand.
Philly was coming in to land on this comet, he was supposed to land right here at this touchdown point. But you can see the before and after shots. So he hit the touchdown point and he bounced and rolled over here into the top right, into this segment where he was obscured by a cliff face, right, which blocked Matt Philly from being able to use his solar cells in order to charge his batteries. So after Matt Philly landed on this comet, he was only actually able to broadcast for about 60 hours, and then his batteries ran out. Yes.
It's tragic.
Matt Philly was out of power. Fortunately, though, after the comet moved closer to the star that it was, is it closer to the sun? I don't even know which it's closer to. It's closer to the sun, I think, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
I don't know. I'm no astrologist.
Yeah. So
Astrologist.
I ran out of power on November 15th. Yeah. Higher surface temperatures, improved illumination. That was what was key.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
I think this is going around the sun. Yeah, it's got to be going around the sun. There's nothing else would be closer. Anyway, so here's the point. Here's the point of this whole thing.
What is that?
Matt Philly has woken up.
No.
Matt Philly is stranded on the surface of a comet, hundreds of light hours from Earth.
This sounds like a Just Cause 3 stunt or something.
No.
No?
Now, what are you looking at Matt Philly's?
Yes, I'm making sure he's okay. It looks like look at how healthy he looks.
No, those are all scheduled. Those are all scheduled tweets.
No
He's
way.
actually been missing for 211 days. He's just woken up on the surface of this planet.
Says he just
the
uploaded a video.
question is if we should send a rescue party, Kyle.
No.
This is very important.
He's fine. He looks...
So, Kyle, should we send a rescue party?
Although he hasn't posted any pictures of flamingos lately.
You're right.
I'm kind of suspicious.
You're right. Because there's no flamingos, on the surface of the comet.
Oh, shoot.
So should we send a rescue mission to bring Matt home from the comet?
Maybe you're right.
Kyle,
Maybe we should.
We have yes or no?
Yes.
All right, you're going to go yes?
Is this
All right, Kyle's going to argue yes. I'm going to say no. All right.
This is
Kyle, argue yes. Why should we rescue Matt?
Because in the last 5 seconds, I've been convinced that everything Paul has been saying is true.
Yep.
Whereas before, I was completely skeptical, and now that I see the light, it's clearly apparent that something's happened to Matt. I mean,
so
he would have been tweeting more about E3 coverage
Yeah,
or
he
something
would've.
like that, but he's clearly the only explanation for him not tweeting more is that he is somewhere in space strapped to a rocket or a meteor or a comet.
I'm going to say no. Matt Philly's as good as dead. We need to let him go to his eternal home on the surface of this comet. If we send, you've seen what happens when you try to send a crew of people to a comet on a rescue mission. This has been well documented in documentaries such as Deep Impact and that other one with Morgan Freeman. There was Morgan Freeman in Deep Impact. Independence Day. No. Armageddon. That's what it was. Armageddon.
Those aren't documentaries.
Most of the people usually die. Maybe 1 or 2 people will escape and manage to get back home, but most of the people usually die. This is why I'm saying, Matt, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be stranded on the surface of this comet. But I do appreciate that you now have more sunlight to charge your solar cells, so we would appreciate it if you continue to send us back pertinent information regarding the orbit of the comet as well as its interaction with the sun.
Oh, he just tweeted. He said he's coming out with a new show, a new web series called Pimp My Asteroid. Huh.
Pimp My Asteroid. He's on a comet, though.
Yeah, but, maybe he got inspiration.
That's all right. He's
got an aspiration.
This is very... So
You need a nap.
our audience agrees.
We should end the show now.
No, everyone has said no. We should not rescue Matt from the comet. It's not worth the resources. It's not worth the risk. All right, so
Fair enough.
that has been determined,
Leave him for dead.
and Matt's now
Sorry, Matt.
stranded on the comet for the rest of his life. We'll keep watching his Twitter feed for updates.
I wish him well for his new show.
Yeah, well, pimp my comet. With Matt Philly coming very soon.
That's right.
Hey,
Good job, Matt.
hey guys, that's the end of our show.
Hey.
Unless anyone has like really quick questions to ask us in chat, we usually do Q&A at the end, and we've gone long already.
Long and hard.
So
Long and hardware.
All right, the Manic Geek has already said later.
Later.
Yeah. There's some information from Damon. Yes, this information we already know. Yes, you can. Everyone should go watch the E3 show if you haven't done that already.
Indeed. I'll probably watch it after this.
Yeah, and we will be, of course, re-uploading this to YouTube as we typically do.
Yep.
Pilot 682 asks, "Can you help me with this? When I tweet with a hashtag, it does reference the hashtag, and the hashtag page. I'm invisible to the public and can't send my PC." I don't understand that question. Shimmykins is asking, when am I going to sleeve my cables? This week.
Nice.
Week I'm going to sleeve
Oh
my
yeah,
cables.
you still have to do that.
I need to finish my freaking Arctic Panther
Get
build.
on it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Are we going to do Pimp My PC next week? Yes.
Probably.
Pimp My PC should
Probably.
be back. That is clearly an extremely popular segment.
Indeed.
I should start doing that segment on my half of the show too.
Too bad Matt won't be able to watch it because he's on a comment.
I know. What time? Oh, gaming later.
Yes.
We're supposed to game here.
Yes.
In a couple hours. It's about 8. It's about 8 o'clock p.m. local time here. So about 10 o'clock p.m. If you guys are interested, Kyle will be on his channel, which is Awesome Sauce Network.
Yep.
I'll be on my channel, which is Paul's Hardware, on
Correct.
Twitch, of course.
Later,
yes, Kian, I'm going to try to get AC for the garage soon. I need to figure that out because I got to run a 220 out here, I think, and do the split thing.
It's getting
probably
hot.
Maybe
It's
get it
getting
on
hot
that
in
wall
Paul's
back
Hardware
there.
garage.
It's cooled off pretty decently this evening.
Yeah.
Although what I've done today is I have the door to the rest of the house open with the AC on
We got some nice
and a
intake.
fan, so that's made it tolerable.
It's a good thing we don't have the show at like.
But
noon.
it was low
We'd be
90s.
dying.
It was low 90s today,
Yeah.
Fahrenheit in California, and it's gonna get hotter in the next month or two.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll work on that. Anyway, though, guys, we should probably cut this off. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Awesome Hardware.
It's been fun.
Thanks to Kyle for being here. We're going to be at Kyle's house next week. We tried to reconfigure that so we were back in synchronization and coordination.
Yep.
And if you didn't already watch Kyle's half, it's on his channel.
Yep.
And if you're watching live, thanks for joining us.
That's right. Thank you guys so much.
And
see you guys in the after party.
Yeah, I think that's all. Stay tuned for the after party. And don't forget to like button and subscribe button and all those good things.
Oh yeah.
See you later, everyone. I'm gonna make this awkward.